for our social media friends and those who are interested in our work and our movement. This is Chow Win. I'm the Chief Public Strategist of the Houston Area Women's Center. I am joined by my esteemed colleague, Leticia Manzano, who is the Sexual Assault Services Coordinator for the Houston Area Women's Center. And we wanted to talk to Letty about her work, particularly in the wake of Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So thank you, Letty, for lending your time and your insight and your stories with us, and share with us how you have been and how your work with HAWK has pivoted in the wake of COVID-19.
Yes, so I think on the very first day that we knew that the building was going to close and that the clients weren't going to have what we call face-to-face access with us, the first thing we thought of was, okay, so how do we provide that access? How do we do it safely? And how do we deal with confidentiality? Because we knew that our number one tool was going to be our phone. And so we wanted to make sure that we could continue to provide counseling services over the phone because we didn't know what platform with video would provide that confidentiality. And what we've come up with now is that we have purchased a license to use one, but we haven't started that yet. So we are super connected to the hotline. The hotline and the counseling team created a new policy, a new procedure for how to have clients access services, not just our existing clients who are calling the hotline to see what's going on, when we're reopening, wanting to know how to contact their counselor, but also new clients calling the hotline. And so we are we're doing registration services, what we call intake, over the phone with new clients who have either recently experienced a sexual assault or whose sense of safety, sense of just kind of coping has been interrupted by all the stress in living in a world where there is a pandemic. And so I think we're able to offer that support, the crisis intervention, in the best way that we can. The clients are appreciative of it. And also what we're finding is that we're getting a lot of calls from domestic violence survivors, not just, for me, for Luke, for Adriana, who are in the sexual assault program. We're also being looped into taking calls, for making calls, reaching out to people who have accessed us through hotline, who have experienced domestic violence. And let me tell you that in 60% of the cases that we've had in the past 4 weeks, there is sexual assault within the context of domestic violence, which we know that's the case in our work, but I want the public, whoever's watching this, to know that sexual assault is part of domestic violence. Sexual reproduction, coercion for sexual reproduction, and coercion, sexual coercion, but just outright what we call rape. And so we are not only counseling people around safety regarding their physical self, their emotional self, but also how to provide that safety for their sexual self, letting them know what their rights are, letting them know that shelter is an option.
One of the other things we've talked about at HAWK is our hospital accompaniment program has been reduced to also that virtual support, making it hard for the advocates because they can't go to the hospital and provide that one-on-one support that so many of our counselors and you, Letty, provide. How hard is it to not be able to have that face-to-face, whether it be in person or in a support group setting? What are you hearing from the clients about that?
So interestingly enough, one of the goals at the Houston Area Women's Center, we have goals when we provide these services, but one of the big ones is breaking down isolation, something that we've been working on for over 20 years, at least since I've been in the program. And we actually, every client that we see, our message is to tell them you are not alone. You're not alone. You have the hotline. Now you have this advocate who went out to the hospital with you. You have me as a counselor. You have the other counselors that you'll meet. And they have learned that they are not alone. But one of the places they feel less isolated is in group. And
Yeah.
so the majority of the clients that we've talked to from the sexual assault program are either calling us to find out when is group going to start again, or letting us know, like, I really miss group. I miss talking with other survivors, hearing that they understand what I'm going through. Some of them are even saying things that are so, as compassionate as, I want to be there for other survivors. I want to let them know that I want to support them how they can. Survivors, clients who've experienced sexual assault from our groups are saying, I'm still working. If somebody needs food, I want to know. How can I contact the friends that I've made?
Oh.
Yeah, it's amazing and heartbreaking at the same time, because we just can't, this social distancing, the physical distancing is so important. But we're letting them know that as soon as we are able to figure out the safest way to reconnect everybody from group, we're going to do that.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear. Sexual Assault Awareness Month falls once a year, and April is our big campaign where we push out messages, content. What do you want our social media community and the community of advocates and survivors who listen and follow our Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, all our social media platforms, to hear when it comes to this month? Because there's a lot of lessons, right?
Yeah, there are. And I think, as much as it's great to have like one message, this one wonderful message we're going to push for this whole month, I think for HAWK, I think for the Houston Area Women's Center, it's always threefold. We want to teach people what consent really is. We want people to understand it backward and forward. We want them to know that a clear yes is consent. Everything else is ambiguous, and that means it's not a yes. So understanding consent is a big message. I think the second message is to talk about believing survivors. I know someone who told my mom recently that he has a friend who was accused of sexual assault. This is my mom telling me, well, so-and-so told me accused of sexual assault, and that his dad came from, I don't know what part of the country, to bail him out of jail. And, she's just making this up. And I had to educate my mom and tell her, you know what, when there's an arrest made, that means there is evidence to support that the person, was sexually assaulted. And we have to, start by believing. I think that that's also a big one.
Yeah, I feel like that's like that whole, like, meet the client where they are, right? Meet the survivor where they are.
Absolutely, because meeting them where they are is whatever reason they have for not calling the police or why they don't have the evidence, that doesn't matter. Meet them where they are. If they are telling you this happened, just sit and listen and believe and refer them to our hotline so that they can access counseling in a safe way, and most importantly, for free. Therapy is very costly. Many people do not have health insurance. And so it's really important for them to know that there is a community organization that provides services for free.
And bilingual services. I think about free is so important because there's so much need in our community to heal from this.
Yes, absolutely. So on staff, we have counselors who speak English. Some are bilingual, English and Spanish. And we currently have a counselor who is bilingual, and this is at non-residential, which means at our WA campus, we have a counselor who provides services in English and Arabic. So we have Arabic women reaching out for services, and our counselor, shout out to Ruba, she's there for them. And whatever other language a person speaks, we have professional interpreters via our language line where we can provide counseling. I just yesterday looked up what are these languages, that we're providing services in. What have we been doing for the past year? Let me tell you, Russian, Italian, French, Urdu, other Asian languages like Cantonese, Mandarin, Vietnamese. And so it is just so important for people to know that no matter who you are, what community you're with, you can always reach out. And not all immigrants are undocumented, but it is very important for undocumented survivors to know that immigration status is irrelevant to the work that we do. Everything is confidential. We are not going to call the police. We are not related to ICE. We're actually going to want to find out if you qualify for some relief and possibly even a change in status. So please reach out to the Women's Center. We're here to support.
That's all such important and valuable information that we have to continue to stress. And what a blessing that you're with us. Letty, how long have you been with Hawk now?
So this stay home, work safe started about the second week of March. And on Monday of the third week, March 23rd, I celebrated 22 years at the Women's Center.
Can't imagine the countless stories you've heard and helped to heal with survivors.
Yeah. And
you know,
people say, I don't know how you can do that. And let me tell you, I see the healing happen. If I didn't, why would I want to work there?
Yeah.
But I think the counselors, the advocates, the shelter staff hotline, all of the direct housing, court services, all of our direct service staff have stories of success and have stories of healing. And that's what gives me hope and courage to continue to do this work.
That's beautiful. Letty, thank you so much for all the work you do. I just love speaking and talking with you, and I hope you continue and doing the good work you're doing with the clients. And I hope we'll be able to connect and see each other again, give each other big hugs. And
yes, we all can't wait.
All right,
we can't wait to get back to our offices.
I know.
Who would have
hotline numbers? Hotline numbers are always up. We're always free and confidential, and so we'll do that. And if they need to get in touch with you or one of your other counselors on staff, we will make sure to continue to push out that number, because help is available.
Yes, it is. And it's at your fingertips. Call us 24/7. We are not closed.